The Infected. Is it worth a buy? Let's read the words of the developer. The virus was a lot more serious than anticipated. A treatment was looking promising. A drug trial seemed to work. Many were getting better, and fatality rates were dropping. But oh my God, something went wrong. Some unexpected side effects began to arise, causing human DNA to mutate into something unknown. We call them Vambies.
What? Fucking Vambies?
They seem to look like a mix between a vampire and a zombie. Well, this is what the media is telling us, but is that the truth?
Well, if it comes from the media, I can say no, but guys, this is The Infected. This is The Infected. It's an open world sandbox survival crafting game. You build a base, defend it, protect yourself from the wildlife and the infected Vambies. Yeah, Vambies, that's not a very good name, Vambies, but anyway, this is what I've been doing for the past 2 days. About 29 freaking 30 hours mining and grinding and mining and grinding and mining and grinding and mining and just basically lots and lots of mining and grinding. Now basically this is an early access game called The Infected, and I love it. I think it's bloody great. Now it's got a lot wrong with it, and you should not just go out and buy it, you should watch the rest of this review. Now this is a review, but it's just an early access review, and there's a lot wrong. So let's start with the good shit, guys. The surviving side of things in this game is great. It's got day and night cycles, and the daytimes and the night times are quite long, which I like. And it also has seasons. It has like a spring, summer, autumn, winter. And the seasons are very important because snow comes in the winter, ponds freeze over, plants freeze, you need some kind of greenhouse. You've got to change, you've got to prepare for winter in this game. Now once you've prepared for winter, you're kind of set, so it kind of isn't a big deal after that. But initially, your first 10 to 20 hours is really good fun, building your base up, building your house, protecting it with a fence, and getting ready for winter. Now, what I don't like about this game is the AI is awful, the zombies are tragic, and there's a lot of grinding in it. A bit too much grinding in it. But there is good news. There's a patch that I was just reading about coming. This developer seems like a really good guy. They're putting a patch out soon which is really going to address, they're really redoing the whole AI essentially. So hopefully we're going to get some really good Vambies. So you start off, guys, on the map, and you decide where you want to build. Really, there's a good starting zone near copper and near a lake, and you just do your usual stuff, chop down the trees. You make a little axe by picking up a stick and a stone off the ground. You can make basic stuff on the fly. You don't need a crafting bench or anything. You will later on for more complex things, and you start building foundations. Now a lot of you might look at this and think, hang on a minute, is this green hell? Well, it's very similar in the crafting side of things, so you'll be right at home with this if you've played that game. I did review it as well, it's a good game that. You put your foundations down, you put your wall sort of blueprints up if you like, and you then just start throwing the materials at it, and then you'll start creating. You need a lot of materials, you essentially need a lot of rock, you need a lot of wood, you need a lot of planks, so you make a sawmill, you put it's like a saw bench, you put your logs on there, they'll create a couple of planks, so you need a lot of that going on in your production line. You need to make a little foundry and start smelting the rock to make some iron. Yeah, I don't know how that works either. Copper ore as well, you'll find lying around, you smelt all of that, and then eventually you build yourself a little house. Now the survival aspects alone in this game are fun. Forget about the Vambies or the zombies or the vampires, whatever the hell they're called. Just making little plant pot areas, planting your seeds, because when you find stuff growing in the wild like corn, potatoes, melons and things like that, if you harvest it, you will always get some seeds off that. Once you've got some seeds, you can then start planting them, and you water it as well with, you know, whatever water you want. You can use clean or dirty water, but you can't drink the dirty water. Well, you can, but it'll make you ill, so you have to boil all your water in this to make it clean. The interface isn't that great doing things like that. I found it clunky and lots of clicking around, which, you know, it pisses off a bit. But it's serviceable, definitely, and it's certainly playable. So you get your fire going, you get your house going, you've got it reasonable size, you've got a perimeter fence round, that takes hours to create it, and you've got your windows in, although there's no like glass in them, it's just like holes where you can fire your bow and arrow out. You've crafted your bow and arrow, you've got your spear, you've got your little torch, you've got your pickaxe, you've got your repair hammer, you've got your chopping axe, and you're all kind of set. And then winter comes and your lake freezes over where you've been happily diving in with your spear and fishing fish out of it and filling up your water bottles every morning. That's all gone. And I thought to myself, my goodness, I'll build this tank, this big like bath tank, and I'll catch the rainwater so that when the other water of the pond freezes over, I'll just use this. But I didn't need to, because you can just put snow in your actual flask that you've got and then just put that on the pot to boil. And it's actually easier in the winter to survive than it is in the summer as far as getting water and stuff. And as long as you've stocked up on plenty of food, and I'll talk a little bit about the food now, you need a balanced diet in this. You need your vitamins, so you need your fruit, your veg, and your proteins. So obviously your proteins is coming from your fish and your meat. There's different bears, deers, foxes, wolves, all kinds of stuff, pigs, sheep that you can kill. Some of them are predators and will go for you, others will just run away. And you get meat and skins and stuff off them, and you can obviously dry out the meat, or you can put it on the fire and just cook it up. Or you can make, when you get further into the game, you can make advanced meals that have a lot more vitamins and nourishment in, and they'll also have a longer perishing time, because everything perishes in this game food wise. It will go off over time and then be spoiled. The big hazard of winter is the cold, and when it hits, and you've got to make sure your house is warm enough, but more importantly, you've got to make sure you've crafted yourself some clothes, because if you're out and then a blizzard hits, the temperature plummets and it will kill you. And I've been lucky that I've only been caught twice in these, and it's been very close to my house, so I've just managed to get back in and survive. Now, if the elements weren't enough to give you a bit of a push for your money, you've also got the Vambies attacking. Zombies, cross between zombies and vampires, as I mentioned earlier. Now, they will attack after day 10, but you can tweak it all at the beginning of the game. In fact, at any time you like. This has an amazing, great menu system where you can just go in, you can turn off all the predator animals, you can turn off all the roaming zombies or vambies, and you can turn off all the raids that come at your base. So if you want, you can have a purely crafting survival game if you want, or you can go full on, and I recommend full on because it is kind of the way the game was meant to be played. But at the minute, full on is shit. It's just not that good because the AI is garbage. They just run at you, you just shoot them in the face, one arrow in the face, dead, and they're not even they sound worse than they actually are. I've had my fair share of jump scares in this and just been terrified because the atmosphere of this game is great. When you don't know what's coming and you hear the noises, it's terrifying. Until you realise, hang on a minute, it's just this prick here. Die. So I would love to see more types of infected, better AI, and I know that's coming because I've just read the patch notes that's coming in the next version 7 update. So I'm really looking forward to that. There's also villages or towns, if you like. They're more like little settlements on the map. And in there is blueprints, and you have to go and get the blueprints. Again, they're guarded by a handful of Vambies, which is so easy to dispatch. It's not even funny. And you get these new blueprints for better tech, and that's when the advanced stuff comes in, and that's where I'm up to now. I've got about 4 of the blueprints, but I haven't got the rest. I've stopped playing the game now simply because I don't like the AI. I don't like the challenge of it. It's just not there yet. I'm going to wait maybe another 6 months, the dreaded 6 months, which means you're never going to go back here, Mac. No, 6. I do like this game. This game is great. It's great. It's only a tenner. And you know what? For £10, the amount of shite people have bought for 50. This is £10, and even in its now early access state, it is fun to just chill out and just craft a nice little base. It looks nice as well, but obviously the combat's pretty diabolical. But the survival aspect is fun, although it does feel a bit like work. Some of the things, I think there's too much grinding. I think, personally speaking, they should drop the cost of fences. I think it's just a bit too high. Drop the cost of walls especially. It's definitely too high. I also think that as you go around the land, you find melons, you find corn, you find potatoes, all these things growing wild. They shouldn't grow in the winter when the snow's here, because you don't actually need to build a greenhouse. You can just run around and find all these things on the land and just live off the land. And you know, it's a bit stupid that they won't grow in your own garden, but they will grow in the wild. So that needs. There's a lot of stuff like that that just needs fixing. It also definitely needs base defenses, such as traps and things like that you can just make to defend yourself in your base. But the one thing that I am shocked that it is missing is co-op. This game is made for co-op. You can just tell. I mean, obviously it isn't, because the developer doesn't even have any plans to bring co-op in. But just the whole nature of this game is easily 2 players, if not 4, for the size of the map that's on here. I can't get my head round that this is not going to be co-op, because it would just be 10 times better, and they'd make 10 times more money probably. They'd make a shit ton more money if this was co-op. I just don't understand why co-op can't be an option, because that wouldn't affect single player, because you can still have the single player option. Why not add the option for co-op? It just seems like a no-brainer to me. Maybe later, I don't know, but certainly at the minute there are no plans for co-op apparently, so that's a big shame. But anyway guys, I'll be back to review this probably when it's finished, unless there's a major change to the gameplay in the next 6 to 12 months.